In the days of old, the sorcerers of Riverlong cured the sick and healed the wounded through a great power called Source. But a terrible darkness invaded the land, and Source was forever tainted. The sorcerers who once healed now only destroy, and madness has overtaken them. A few brave Source hunters are all that stand between Riverlon and the dark power that threatens to destroy it. Wherever Source appears, hunters follow.
Rise and shine, Master Source Hunters. The Captain wants you up on deck. Hear them gulls? Means we're close to shore. I don't ever you go in there, Master Source Hunters. City's full of undead, hungry enough for blood. But you're supposed to investigate that murder, ain't you? They say it's Source that did the Counselor in. Source in a city like Sicil, nowhere's safe anymore. Here they are, Captain Sir.
God's blessings on you, hunters. You'll be happy to hear we've reached Sicil. But there's trouble offshore, so we'll have to sail in carefully. Here, have a look. Those are orc ships, and they're blocking our passage. We'll get you as close to the city as we can, and drop you off on the beach. Be wary now. Orcs are on the attack. Undead have closed every route out, and there's a sorcerer on the loose. If we're to get justice for the Counselor, you'll have to keep your wits about you. May the luck of the gods be with you both, Source Hunters.
Another one for the collection. If I didn't know there were orc ships raiding to the west, I'd mistake this for a placid beach.
At least the orcs make a bit of noise when they attack. It's dark-dealing sorcerers that'll strike with neither warning nor mercy.
Is that a corpse? What's it doing here alone?
What? Did you expect it to have an entourage? Can you believe this? The man jumped off a cliff at the behest of some statues, of all things.
Pure madness. How could someone be so utterly naive?
Rivellon is no stranger to the supernatural.
Source hunters! How did they find us?
Take the stone to the temple. These whelps will be easy to crush.
As you say, Madam Conrad.
Arise, fair dead! Seize upon our enemies!
Marksman's poise. Your grave opens to welcome you. This is the end for you!
Their leader said something about escaping with a stone.
Stolen from this dungeon, I imagine. Can we get inside?
Those thieves were more than petty criminals. Their leader gave life to the dead. What stone could they have been so keen on taking?
We can't well turn away from such an odious show of source. Let's investigate the tomb and see what answers it might reveal.
Indeed.
Careful, there's a mine in the middle of our path.
Someone must have an interest in protecting whatever's kept here.
I've always heard there's typically more to a king's tomb than meets the eye.
It could be a myth, or it could
This
be
seems
our
to be
lucky
broken.
day.
What's this? I found something. Short work of that door, but I don't imagine our weapons would survive such use for long. It never rains, but it pours, eh? Careful, I've spotted a trap.
water! Rain down!
Soaked to the skin. Well, what's this I've spotted?
I've spotted something interesting.
What's this? I found something. I think I hear voices downstairs.
The last thing we need is to surprise another angry summoner.
My robes are soaked! You better hope there's no hint of a flame in this place. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that.
I sense enemies nearby.
But us and the boss. You don't know that. Those cultists have been poking about.
Onslaught from afar!
This arrow seeks more than one target.
A living rat dares disturb the in life. I toil to care for these holy grounds. In death, I protect them from profaners and poachers. The legacy of Cecile is mine to preserve. Her traitors are mine to destroy. I suppose you only crept among these sacred tombs for leisure. I suppose you had no lust for the treasure of the dead. Ha! Strange indeed. Robed indeed. Your tricks will not save you from retribution, deceiver. The Bloodstone, deliver it now, and I may deign to end you quickly. Run if you like, Defiler. Whichever way you take leads you to the grave.
Maximum bow tension! The time of your death is at hand!
Death never dies, fool. Death in 1,000 forms rules all.
I need another chance.
chance!
Face the unending darkness.
Mighty ocean, how I pine for thee. Look. Call me Ishmael, son of the sea, an outcast upon these wretched shores. An exiled shell, doomed to live under a canopy of arid sky, not his native tender water. Of course I can talk. Don't be silly. There's more tongue to me than heart. Indeed, the surprise should be mine, for I still remember the days when your kind swung from branches and plucked the vermin out of their neighbor's fur. Time is an indulgent mistress to one who spends happy hours as she passes. But when your existence is one of misery, she becomes a lethargic hobby. Oh, I remember ancient times. I have lain here since antiquity, when the ruins around us were palaces, and the sun-bleached dead merry children. All this I have seen, alive, alone, alas. My fate is a cruel one, I assure you. How many snot-noses have held me up against their dirty little ears, only to claim they can hear the ocean. Of course they can hear her, the brats. We are on the very edge of the great aquatic mother, whose embrace I so desperately long for. Yes, yes, I, King of Pearls, ache to repose anew on his coralled throne. Hurl me toward the water. Swing me as far as your arm's strength gives lease. And treasure long sunk, I will. What do you say, kind knight? Will you return the King of Pearls to the sea, so he may yield you long-lost treasure?
kindness is its own reward, and then there's the promise of treasure to boot. Let's throw him into the sea.
Agreed. Let's send him home.
Liberator! The sea, I have returned. Where every wave feels like a Urban's kiss. May the bounty of the deep be yours, along with my eternal gratitude.
One man's trash is another man's trash.
Hold it right there, orc scum! No one slips past the Legion.
Calm down, Junius. Doesn't look like one of them orcs to me. Got a signal.
Just hold your tongue, will you, Bibius? Can't be too careful. We are sworn we're Legionnaires, of course. On the lookout for orcs, for they've been attacking from the sea. God knows why they do it, but we
Liberators of liquor too, aren't we, old chum?
Shh! Just pipe down, will you, Bibius?
Ever cat the watch? Stood on the lookout for hours on end, bored stiff. Boredom's a demon buddy, and booze is the demon hunter. There. I do declare it's time for this hunter to take another shot. Huzzah!
Aye, a noble word for watchdog, that. For that is what we do. Watch over the local dogs that ever so often aim for one another's throat.
Best way to calm a wily dog is to neuter it. Ha! Spay for pay. Legion's motto.
Just put a sock in it, will you, Bibius?
So, you're source hunters, are you? And how are we supposed to verify that's true? We can't read, my friend. So for all we know, those papers...
You know what? We'll take you two to the wizard. I know he reads. He has books large as a house, that one. Yeah, he'll squeeze the truth out of you, one way or another.
The wizard, you say? Sounds good to me. Lead the way.
Agreed. A wizard is bound to know more about what is going on around here.
Captain, come along. We're not far from the city. Come, let's have another drink while we still can. To your very good health.
And yours, Bibius. Here goes. Goes down as smooth as burning needles. But I'll be damned if it doesn't get you more hammered than an anvil.
Better to be dead drunk than plain dead, what you?
You keep them eyes open, you hear? Shh. If the orcs show up, I don't want to have to face the buggers alone.
The better of me. God, I'm both of my sleepy. Don't tell me you're afraid. You should have enough liquid courage in your system by now that you're ready to face an army. Pass the bottle, would you, Junius? My throat's dry.
Again, this is a single malt, imported all the way from Hawkesbury, you know. It ain't the local pig swill they sell for ale.
Single malt? Stubborn.
bloody orcs! Come, let's go back to the bridge. Let the source hunters handle their big groups.
On guard!
Did you see that? Those...
How very curious. And how very disquiet.
Livius and Junius! Didn't they hear the fight?
Filthy beasts, I'll kill the last one of you. Filthy beasts, I'll kill the last one of you!
beasts, I'll kill the last one of you.
What's all this ruckus? Sounded worse than a dozen tomcats fighting over the world's last mackerel. Ah, but I see we've suffered another orc landing. And judging by the relative ease with which it was dispatched, I can only come to one conclusion. Source hunters have arrived in Sicil. You're as welcome as a glass of cooled milk on a hot day, my friend. I'm Ahu, at your service. It was I who requested your presence in this troubled city. So you were, and so you weren't. Behold! There we are. Meet my other half, hunter. Ha ha! No need to look so flabbergasted. I may be a wizard rife with tricks and guile, but I assure you my plea is an earnest one. So, now that the cat is out of the bag, let us turn to the matter of Councillor Jake's murder. It's hard to put my finger on it, but I can feel in my very whiskers that sorcery was at play. Visit the scene of the crime, and I'd bet sardines for salad you'll say the same. Captain Aureus, though, the local commander. Jake was murdered in a downstairs room of the King Crab Inn, up in Sicil proper. The Legion keeps it under lock and key, though, so you'll need Aureus's permission should you want to have a peek. So there are, or rather, there is. Popular opinion has it his wife did the deed, but to be frank, I have my doubts. She seems a likely candidate, to be sure, but that would make her a sorceress. Esmeralda knows how to charm, yes, but I just don't see her magic extend beyond a frolicsome look and wink. Still, don't simply take my word for it, Hunter. It may be well worth your while to cross-examine her yourself. The Legion has her under guard in her shop near the town square. That's where you'll find poor Jake's widow. A human, you say? Truly? But that would be like a kitten leading a wolf pack. And yet, I have heard rumors about a sect of sorts, a shadowy set of worshippers that associate even with orcs. Some say they're sorcerers, but people will say that about anyone who behaves a bit strangely nowadays. I don't quite know what to make of this news, but thank you. Ah, the undead. They've been clawing their way out of the ground for 2 years now. And for 2 years the stalemate between them and the living has been dragging on at a weary pace indeed. The Legion did a good job keeping them at bay, but I think it's fair to say that without my magic-infused ballistae, they'd have gotten the better of us by now. Someone is responsible for the outbreak. Necromancers are at work, but who are they and where do they hide? Alas, that searching for them is like searching for a single louse in a lion's mane. Unfortunately, that is absolutely correct. The Orc siege is yet another hairball stuck in this city's already choking throat, and it shows no signs of abating. We've cordoned off the western beach where most Orc activity has been reported. For the 9 lives of me, I can't seem to figure what they're doing here. There's nothing of interest along the waterfront, except for a set of caves with an unfavorable reputation. Maybe they're after some pirate's treasure, the fools.
Bringing your little orchid girlfriend here is like bringing a wolf to a hen house. Nonsense. Listen. She's purring.
Oh, but that's not a trick. It's a blessing. Or does it surprise you that I enjoy taking a feline guise? Such magic is a gift, Hunter. To tread upon the realm of instinct. Even articulate speech, perhaps humanity's greatest asset, cannot give expression to something so inextricably innate. To be out in the night, to stalk on silent paws and hunt with only the moon as your witness. You couldn't possibly imagine the thrill. But of course, it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable thumbs. This I freely admit. Let's just say I have found a way to enjoy the best of 2 worlds.
What fool would trust a 2-bit love potion out of a backstage circular from youthful God? An orc in love. Ha! When this little Saturn fades, she'll liberate the flesh from our faces. Come now, enough screaming sweet. Cast the avert your gaze, and I'll handle this threat for all our sakes.
You wouldn't hurt a fly, and I won't let you pack a horn on my head.
You'd be much better with your guts on the floor. Bringing your little orcish girlfriend here is like bringing a wolf to a hen house.
Nonsense. Listen. She's purring.
What fool would trust a 2-bit love potion out of a backstage circular from youthful God? I like you much better with your guts on the floor.
I'm glad we've met, Source Hunter. And I'm certain we have a lot more to talk about. Feel free to visit me whenever you want. I've set up a workshop in the Legion's headquarters.
Enough screaming sweet. Cast the game and
Once you're there, just take the stairs. But do pay a visit to Aureus first. He may bark like a beagle with its tail stuck in the door, but you won't get very far in your investigation without speaking to the de facto leader of Sicil. And with that, I bid you adieu, Hunter. Adieu and good luck. May your enemies prove to be mere mice, and you the dauntless mouser.
Sorcery, sects, undead, orcs. Looks like we have our work cut out for us.
At least we won't be bored. How about we go see that Aureus chap, Ahund?
Come on then, put your backs into it.
One of the orcs are sending another.
Oh, hail the rain spirit. I thought the old gal's fate was sealed when the orc shaman said his...
Curse the gods. Is it so difficult to find a day of labor?
Our home, our livelihood, all sunk in with our ship gone. Nothing for it but to get a job. Slim pickings around here.
Really? The greatest warriors in Rivellon can't cross a rope.
Shiver me timbers and sliver me heels.
I guess someone else got here first.
sail, size sail, shiver me timbers and sliver me heels.
Plenty of fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks.
Come one, come all, and see the amazing singing Stefan! Scythia's only sentient severed head!
What a tale! Fantastic!
Today I think a king, the great Sigurd and his rainbow.
Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Good day to you.
Well, what sort of arrows do you want? Freezing? Silver? Poison? Get to the point.
Any takers? Come on, you chickens!
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Fresh haddock, perfect for a fire.
Let us see if you can choose the finest green.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses. Pay the big cheese on your block for the wheel of the good stuff.
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Portions to be muscle you, squalls to entussle you.
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more home than the slice of this fine
A good day to you.
Say, no one's around. You wouldn't raise a fuss if I, borrowed one of these fish, would you?
Borrow indeed. I'll sooner meet a cat wizard than see that merchant repaid.
Cheese, tomatoes.
Come now, I'll be good for it, I swear! Oh, my story's tired by now. I was happy enough, prosperous enough, before these lean times around Sicil began. Still, that doesn't waive a man's need to eat, you know. I never would have dreamt of resorting to petty theft during better times, but what choice have I got now? If it's steal or starve, I'll choose steal. So what do you think? Should I snag a fish?
Any takers? Come on, you chickens!
That merchant has to eat too, you know. Leave the fish alone.
Yes, you know what they say about giving a man a fish. This man should learn to stand on his own 2 feet.
I suppose you've got a point. Another day, another rumbling belly. Fed a hungry man, you know.
Fresh haddock. Perfect for a fry-up.
A good day to you.
Source Hunter. A sight for sore eyes, if ever there was one. I know you're probably knee-deep in that awful murder investigation, but truth be told, the Legion could use your help as well.
The face, Furious. She bit me in the face.
We've been conducting a series of expeditions into undead territory, and I'm afraid I must admit they've met with very little success. Lieutenant Selenia, at your service. I'm Captain Aureus' second-in-command, but rest assured I am a lot more kindly inclined towards source hunters than he is. Now, I certainly don't mind a bit of healthy competition and even rivalry between our orders, but I, for one, have no intention of looking a gift horse in the mouth. And that is exactly what your presence in Sicil is, Source Hunter. A gift and a blessing. Only heroes such as yourself can make a true difference in this troubled part of the world. Such is my honest conviction. The undead. I pitied them at first. Many among them were once kind and innocent civilians of Sicil after all. No longer do I feel that way, though. Too many of my soldiers have fallen. The dead must be the bravest among my men, and women tell me they are weaker in the west and stronger in the east. So I suggest you head westward if you want to flex your muscles and test the waters before blindly diving to your death. I shall be very glad to share what information I can give you.
Don't pay attention to these Furious. You'll only encourage it.
It's very sweet of you that you are trying to get these men a job, but I'm afraid they're not Legion material.
You don't think it's a bet, do you?
Sure, they can tie a knot and blow a whistle like the rest of them, but even with a sword in their hands, they wouldn't stand a chance against the undead, and I don't want any more blood on my hands. If ever we want to be victorious in Sicil, we have to track down the root of the undead uprising. Under the Pact of Volunteers, 3 expeditions were launched to do just that, but so far, none of their participants have returned. 3 landmarks were chosen for further investigation: the lighthouse, the burial mounds, and the old church. Places fraught with danger all. There's a lighthouse, there's a church, all soup, the chances of...
Greetings! These stores are for our Legion troops.
Don't let that rooster escape! He's already on the menu for tonight!
Isn't it a chicken?
Come on with the dramatics. It's not as bad as all that.
The face, Furious.
True story indeed.
That was close. Thanks for catching Fidgety Jack here. I guess he got nervous when I mentioned drumsticks. Let's have that bird then, shall we? Our troops are mighty hungry.
These stores are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest.
You don't think it's infected, do you?
Come on now, I pulled her off you before she could do any real damage.
Any real damage you'll get.
Those boots will embarrass a bistro. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
The face furious. She bit me in the face.
Look on the bright side. Everyone knows the ugly soldiers are the most ferocious.
Ugly will be the least of it. The beast looks round.
In that case, you'll have the pleasure of putting her down yourself.
What have we here, then? A so-called source hunter, eh? Well, look, do what you must in Sicil, but don't make waves and don't interfere with the Legion's affairs, you hear? I'm Captain Aureus, if you must know, leader of the Legion in Sicil. By which I mean I have the enviable task of commanding a battalion of walking dead. For I fear it may well be but a matter of time before the undead undo all my soldiers and turn them into drivelling hordes of their own misshapen number. Gods above! Some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous! I told that wizard brat of an Ahu not to bother. But he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magicians. They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery's afoot. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop. Understand? I am in command of this town, not Mayor Cecil, not Ahu, and definitely not some hotshot source hunter. So investigate Jake's death if you feel so inclined, but report back to me the moment you discover something out of the ordinary. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Now off with you! Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town, down to the crabs on the beach, is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has the reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you lot have made in the past. What? You're going to stand there and claim with a straight face you're ordered... If you must. Bravo! Figured that one out, did you? I haven't been stuck here for 2 years because we're being besieged by fluffy kittens, you know. Those brain-feasting freaks out there keep on coming. And it takes all the sword arms and all of Ahu's half-baked contraptions to keep them at bay. Keeping them at bay, that is all we do. Were that I could break their backs once and for all.
Source Hunter, welcome, welcome.
Attention!
You don't think it's infected? Hey, who's that then? Come on.
Easy, Tull. That's the source hunter you're talking to.
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
Well, that's to be decided. She doesn't seem to be sick, despite Tully's moaning. We can't keep her here forever, but we can't well send her into the wilds again, can we?
Attention! About face!
Perhaps it'd be worth taking this stranger under our wing. She'll likely come in handy, if we can trust her to watch our backs.
Sicilian stew! Again!
After all, a fearless hunter might prove quite useful for our investigation.
About face!
Well, that's a relief, ain't it? We found a good home for her after all, Tull.
Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian.
Heed me, Source Hunter. She's not good for anything more than cannon fodder. And don't turn your back on her when she's got that bow within arm's reach.
About face! To the barracks! Notch!
Source Hunter, I have heard tales both grand and terrible about the world of humans. I myself was caged one moment and freed the next by our kind. In Home Forest, every creature acts according to the nature of its kind. Birds frighten easily, badgers fear little. But amongst men, there are no guarantees.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! Notch!
It is difficult for me to claim humanity as you do. I am still learning to see myself in the faces of those I meet. And those I meet do not always see themselves in me. It is strange to stand with one foot in the forest and the other in the city, Source Hunter. I am glad that now I have you standing beside me.
Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Attention! About face! To the barracks! Notch! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Those folks are in Barris a bridge door. Get to shining, recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Baking like a cake.
More with dragon's breath! Ah, so it is.
It's heating
I'm
up.
warm as fresh apple pie.
moment of your indulgence, if you please. You are the source hunter, are you not? The hero the whole of Syceal is abuzz about. The talk of the town. The juiciest grape on the grapevine. Such a pleasure to meet you. A delight. No, scratch that. It is so much more than a delight. It is an intervention of fate. Yes, that's it. Fate has put me on this very spot so I may tell you all about Mendius at your service. What is my profession? Well, I'll tell you what it used to be, and that is a man of medicine. But what does a man of medicine do but mend what has first been broken? I saved lives, to be sure, but today I changed them. Oh, it's not merely an opportunity. It is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to become better. To become the full extent of the promise that is locked inside of each and every one of us. So first of all, let me ask you this question. Do you like adventure?
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine.
Of course I do. How could someone in my
Quite right. Adventure is what we live for.
See here. You and I share the same passion. I never doubted it for a moment. The thrill of walking the unbeaten path. The rush of finding yourself in a goblin ambush, knowing you'll prevail nonetheless. Too bad your line of work comes with such measly recompense. Am I right? The wage of a mere soldier. Now...
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
Fresh haddock! Perfect for a fry-up!
Well, I can't say that I haven't.
Yes. Some extra gold is always welcome.
Indeed. Indeed, gold is always welcome. And among the fabulous five, gold flows as freely as water does to the sea. Even so, my friend, matters of a pecuniary nature aside, what is...
It's better to lead than to follow. That much is true.
Better to be...
Well spoken. And that is exactly... you like... What? Now then. Of course. By now. Work, of course.
Join...
And...
What? What? But you...
Whatever happened to that troop of eager imbeciles we sent to the northern cave?
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
Back, demon! Back, or I'll... Well, what's this? Oh, Medora, you lummox. 1,000 pardons, comrade. I'll tell you, it sure does me good to set eyes on another of our order. You wouldn't. I trained up in Academy North, after all. We don't cross paths with you Westies all that often, but it's always a pleasure when we do. Medora's the name. Retired, or so the order keeps trying to tell me, but never out of commission. My hand to your cause and my sword at your side. Heavens hornets! That's quite a story, comrade. And come to think of it, well, see, I'm here on, well, let's call it a loan from a town to the north of here. Hunter's Edge by name. There's been an attack there, comrade. Orcs. Not your run-of-the-mill savages either, but ones who've taken dark magic to new heights. What they want in Hunter's Edge, I can't say, but it's my responsibility to send them packing. preferably with their horns in their suitcases and a knee-knocking fear. I came south seeking the Legion's help. Only by the skin of my teeth, comrade. The savages I managed to wrench free of my captor's grip. Well, comrade, I hadn't thought of it till you tapped my shoulder just now. But perhaps that's where you come in.
Oh, careful now.
I need a contingent I can trust if I'm to take back the town. And the way I see it, I've been scouting Sicil for some time now, and I believe I've sussed out sufficient intel to help solve the murder of the Councillor. With our minds and swords in tandem, we'll make well, you know the old expression, two's a teapot.
A fantastic plan. With 3...
Another source hunt, that's the spirit.
Whatever happened to that troop of eager imbeciles we sent to the northern cave?
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
Have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of hunters?
Watch out! I smell. Oh, the fierce stench of frightened source goblin.
Actually, I think that's only roast pig.
Ah, yes. Yes, of course. This time.
Join the Stunt Club.
Omnes autem mali demonis quam. What? What is this? Who are you to interrupt my musings? By Naga the Protector, they have the manners of boors, these boatmen of Sicil. Oh, but perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps I was mistaken, for you hardly resemble the local fisher folk, which, incidentally, is a compliment of copious dimensions indeed. No, a source hunter, that is what you are. Yes, a stalker of... I would tell you my reasons, but it's... Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And a first edition, too. Most promising.
Kaj'Dinor. The brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
The Lesser Key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. The Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by heart.
A volume of poetry among novels. Urak. Mayhem.
You say you will take me under your wing, but I see no feathers. Are you a child of the birds, as I am? And so the lonely babe was fed. The wise God. In truth, this is a relief. Your world is made with rules I have not yet memorized. I'm happy. Fine, my friend.
Place this book here.
The Lesser Key of Sadakandras. What nonsense.
What mayhem.
The Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by the Source Hunter. Why, simply but now. This is a sentiment on one can...
Very well.
Agree.
Most...
Pay the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Let us see if you can choose the finest greens.
Any takers? Come on, you chicken.
Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've come to my passion, I think you're a long time fighting my fight.
Greetings, Source Hunter. Not exactly the friendliest.
Source. What? What happened? Is this a dream?
I don't think so. That stone. Somehow it sent us flying into the stars.
Terrible, terrible! It will consume us all. By the quill that lasts a billion words, what's this? 2 Rivalonians here? At the end of space and time? How very, very, very curious. Oh, yes. Proper introductions. Zixex the historian at your service. It is my job to record all that was, and is, and hopefully all that is to be. As for how I got here, well, for a historian appointed by the gods themselves, hopping to the end of time is as easy as 1, 2, 3. How you got here, though? That's a rather more interesting question. On such a tiny and rapidly shrinking vestige of space and time, I wouldn't have expected to find a soul but my own shadow. At last a question I can answer most definitively. I mentioned already that this place is the end of time. If that didn't send your heart into your stomach and your pulse a-flutter, it should have. Time ought naturally to have no end at all. Indeed, I can think of no worse nightmare for a chronicler such as myself. But something totally, utterly terrible has happened. Show, don't tell, I always say. So go, peer through yonder looking lens and feast your soon-to-be terrified eyes on the darkness that is approaching.
That imp may be quite mad.
Then we'd better appease him and have a look through.
You saw? Terrifying, isn't... What's this? The portal! It's... The portal has become active! Fantastic! Astounding! Onward we should go!
Another piece of trash.
The portal! It's quite sprung to life, just like the long, dormant flames that decorate this observatory. After all my waiting and hoping, could it be you, dear stranger? You must be the key. Something about your presence here is causing the end of time to grow. The true end itself to move further away. Those torches, a light! This portal active once more. It cannot be coincidence. Goodness me, how right you are. There's so much to take in, I'd nearly forgotten. And what you saw has been haunting my mind since I first discovered it. It is the void itself. The dragon that is devouring creation. When I speak of the end of time, this is exactly what I mean. I can't say for sure where it came from, how or why, but I do know this. It's shrinking our future by the second. And if we don't stop it, it will devour the past and present as well. It's not that I believe, it's that I have seen.
Long have I been waiting here, hoping that one day this very portal would ignite. Then, no longer than a few mere moments after you arrive, zap it goes. The chronicler of time knows a pattern when he sees one. Ah, though I cannot say for certain, if it is what I believe, then our prayers might well be answered. In fact, every last question that ever plagues your noggin might well be answered, for I believe what lies beyond this portal is nothing other than... But why spoil the mystery? As soon as we leap through, we'll find out for after you. Oh, what wonders we may find on the other side. You first. Yes, just as I hoped. There she is. There it is. Come, don't delay.
And he's off.
It seems the imp has spotted exactly who and what he'd hoped to find here.
Could it be, milady? The weaver of time? Mother of history? Author of all that has ever been?
Indeed, Sir Imp. As surely as you are he who chronicles all that I weave.
Astounding! Unbelievable! I have so many questions for you, so much to ask, so much to say.
You have brought guests, I see. Strange. Very strange guests.
My reaction exactly, milady. It was that...
This is a question better put. If any other being, but you are different. So please, do a stone. Not like never had, but yours had.
But, madam...
Like the source of Starstone. Do you see?
Mystery...
It would appear... Yes. If we do not restore time, if we do not discover the true nature of these... Indeed you must.
Why?
Without these...
That shall never... Please. It be, Source Hunter? Do tell. What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell.
Not a moment ago we were hunting Source in Riverlawn, and now we're being told that we alone can prevent the end of time by way of some magical stones. What do you make of it?
Say what Zigzags and the Weaver will. I need more evidence before I'll buy into this wild tale.
Spot on! Praise...
So, what do you think, Source Hunter? Come, I got the glint in your... No, with you, but you'll need a... Luckily, off you go then. You cross my... Likely wouldn't just from Brunei this way, but it's a... Where if I... A question has me stumped, milady. Why are there two of us? Two beings that require...
Source Hunters! I know the imp historian has told you about his agent on Riverlawn, and that agent is I. So now that you know of the alliance, and I'll be delighted to give it. It can therefore hardly be a... That means the task you have been given remains... While you were being lectured by our friend the historian, the advantage of being a cat, you know. You go where you please with impunity. That's where I saw them in a cabinet. Mere slivers, but specks of starstones nonetheless. Don't we all long, but perhaps, like any cat... Let me phrase... I'll not... If Zix... I met him first, so I told him who I was and showed him my human form. In the end, he even shared... Oh, before you go, you'll need the other... Now that this matter...
Unknown to all time, are you? Leave it to an imp to try to fill our minds with all manner of magical gobbledygook. I'll tell you who you are. Source hunters, members of the most esteemed order in Rivellon. Here to find out and grind out every last speck of dark magic in the realm. There, the enigma is solved. I knew you weren't the type to be taken in by such high-flying, pie-in-the... Then again, if... Imagine! Sorry...
Ah, how intolerant. And yet I am a tad jealous of that jabbering little jester. To know all. It is a consummation You are not of the same... Let us learn.